Friends, hi, hello, how are ya? Welcome back to the Curvy E Chronicles. Today, it's time for another meal plan. Let's go! Starting our week off with Cowboy pasta salad. We're going to boil our pasta, drain it, and stick it in a bowl with a little bit of olive oil. Let it sit. We're going to cook our bacon. And then we are going to cook up our ground beef. So we're just going to stick that into a hot pan with a couple tablespoons of oil. We're going to break it up until it's nice and small. We want this to be good and broken up and cooked all the way through. While that is cooking, we are going to take this time to make the dressing to go with this pasta salad. So it is 1 full cup of mayonnaise, a half a cup of any kind of barbecue sauce. We used this Kinder's Cali Gold, which was to die for. So good. And I just put in a little extra. And then we did 2 tablespoons of this chili sauce. The recipe does call for a hot chili sauce. I was not about to do that because number one, I don't like spicy, neither do my kids. Then it's followed up with 2 tablespoons of spicy brown mustard, which really is not that spicy, and apparently there's no such thing as normal spicy mustard. And then 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire. In the meantime, while our beef is browning, we want to season it, salt, pepper, and then I did add some garlic powder and then cumin on top of this one. It also calls for red chili flake, did not do that. And then we're just going to make sure that that is nice and combined. Mix our sauce, and then we are going to combine all the ingredients. So, green onions, chives, scallions, whatever you want to call it, a can of drained corn, our ground beef, and last but not least, just kidding, cheese, obviously, measure with your heart. And then last but not least, our bacon that we cooked and chopped up fine. We're going to dump on that dressing and we are going to mix it all up. This salad does say to serve it warm, and that's what we did initially. And I will tell you, it was delicious. It was good cold the next day too, but just not as good as it was room temp. This is that watermelon wine that was so good. Next, we are running into our crock pot honey mustard pulled chicken sandwiches or something along those lines. So I took 2 1-pound chicken breasts and put them into the crock pot, and then we're going to make our honey mustard sauce, if you will. So it is a half a cup of honey, which took forever to come out of my container because it was just, I needed to set it in some warm water to get it to decrystallize. And then we're going to add in equal parts of water. And then here soon we will get to the whole grain mustard to make it the honey mustard. And I think recipe calls for 2 tablespoons. I did 3. What's it gonna hurt? It didn't really change the flavor much. And then we are going to mix all of that nice and combined. We're going to season our chicken. This is one thing the recipe does not call for, but I did anyway. So garlic, salt, and pepper on both sides. Please season both sides of your chicken. Don't season only one side. We're going to dump over our mixture. And then we are going to let that baby sit low and slow for, I think, 7 hours. 6 hours. Just kidding. In the meantime, while that's cooking, we are going to make our coleslaw to go on top. So it does call for just a red cabbage. I decided to just buy a pre-mixed coleslaw mix because that's easier. So half a cup of oil. I think it says 2 tablespoons of sugar. I threw in a dash more. And then 2 tablespoons of honey and 2 tablespoons of, and these aren't tablespoons, I'm lying, these are teaspoons of rice wine vinegar, and then 1 heaping tablespoon, that one is a tablespoon, of the whole grain mustard. And I think I did 2. You know, it might have been a 2 measurement. I don't know. Mix all of that together. I will say the coleslaw was not my favorite. It was missing something, but that's just my opinion. Then we are going to make the cornstarch slurry, I think is what it's called. So 2 teaspoons of cornstarch into 1/4 cup of water. And we're going to add that to our crock pot. And this is about 30 minutes before everything is done cooking. And then once that's in, we are going to shred our chicken and mix it all in. And trust me, the hand mixer is the best way to do it. These sandwiches were super good. Even the coleslaw, even though it wasn't my favorite, it still was really good on top of the sandwiches. The nice thing about meal planning is you can change your nights that you have food very easily. So we moved our Big Mac tacos from Friday to Wednesday just because of some plans we had. So I will say these were bomb. So I seasoned my beef more than anything that the recipe called for. So I did garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, and my secret to getting good burgers of any kind is always to add an egg. So then we're going to use the best mixing tools that God ever gave us, our hands, to mix up our beef. And once that is all nice and combined with the egg and all the seasonings, we are going to smush it flat on a street taco sized taco shell. And we're just going to repeat that until all of our beef is gone. I tried to do like a small handful. This was about a pound of hamburger, and I got 7 different little tacos off of it. So buttered up on our barbecue, and then meat side down to start. I was going to have my husband help me, but he was busy working on something else. So now that we have this like propane grill that we got for free, I actually can kind of run it. So once those have cooked, I think it says like 5 to 6 minutes, we're going to flip them and put cheese on and let them cook a little bit more. And look how good those look. I did top mine with some lettuce and some Famous Dave's zesty dill pickles, and then one side did get bacon, and of course some Thousand Island dressing. You can obviously make your dressing from scratch, but that was not going to be me. I fully understand the hype now. They were awesome, and I get why they're famous. So next up, we're doing our Tuscan meatballs. Technically, they say the recipe calls these turkey meatballs. I made beef meatballs. But we're taking a pound of hamburger, half a cup of mozzarella cheese, half a cup of breadcrumbs, which the recipe doesn't call for, 1 egg, also what the recipe doesn't call for, some healthy scoops of garlic, some Italian seasoning, a 1/4 teaspoon of beef bouillon or a bouillon cube to go in your meatballs, and then some pepper. And then we're going to go in again with the best mixing tools that God gave us, our hands, and we are going to mix that all up well. It does take a little bit to get everything all mixed in and good to go. And then I do just take my, I think it's called an ice cream scooper, but I use it as a cookie scoop, but it helps to make sure that the meatballs are all the same size and we get them all going. Then we're going to put a pan on medium heat, and we are going to stick our meatballs in with a couple tablespoons of oil and let those bad boys cook up. About 8 to 10 minutes on each side. While those are cooking, we are going to dice up an onion and boil up some pasta. We like to serve this. It's kind of like a sauce to me, and then I put it over pasta. So once our meatballs are nice and done, these were a little extra crispy this time. I kind of got sidetracked at one point. We're going to take out some of the grease in the pan. We're going to add in 2 tablespoons of butter, our onions, and some garlic, because, you know, that's what we do around here. And then we are going to take some sun-dried tomatoes. I should have set these out sooner, but I didn't, so they were a little congealed, so I just used my tongs to pull it all out. And then we're going to let that cook down and get fragrant, about 2 to 3 minutes in the pan with all of that to get it to really mix in well. And apologies for my voice. It has been it's the day after the 4th, so my voice is shot. We are going to put in a 1/4 cup of beef broth or veggie broth like the recipe calls for. Let that cook down a little bit. Then we're going to go in with our 1.25 cups of heavy cream and mix that in. We are going to put the heat down on low when we do that. Make sure it's really low. And then we're going to go in with our spinach. I did not thaw out my spinach like I should have. Technically, the recipe calls for fresh spinach, but I had this in the freezer, and that's why we were making this. So I did let this cook down a little bit extra just to get the extra liquid out. And then once we get to that point, do turn the heat off and add in your cheese. I did mozzarella and I think I did a little bit parm. And then we're going to add our meatballs back in. We're going to stir everything up, make sure it is all nice and covered. And then we top that bad boy on top of the pasta, and it is one of my husband's absolute favorites. He wants me to make it all the time. So anyway, that does conclude this week's meal plan. I do hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, remember to give me a like, comment on the video, let me know which recipe looks the best and which one you want to try, and subscribe. And until next time, remember to spread kindness like glitter. Bye.